How the G7 leaders meeting went and how Ukraine continued to hold back the enemy, that's in our episode. Let's unpack the details and put you in focus on these hot events. This is UATV. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and socials for the latest news and unique stories. Putin deliberately ordered a massive strike on Kyiv during the G7 summit to make world leaders look weak. This was stated by the Ukrainian foreign minister. In this way, the Kremlin dictator first of all demonstrates disrespect for peace efforts on the part of the USA. All this suggests the need to increase pressure on the aggressor, the Foreign Ministry of Ukraine stated, and called for tougher sanctions. We will tell more about how the G7 leaders meeting went in Canada in detail.
"We are gathering at one of those turning points of history," said Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, opening the 51st G7 Leaders Summit. Experts believe Carney played a key role in shaping the summit's agenda. As the summit's chair, he prioritized the issue of achieving a just and lasting peace in Ukraine.
With our international partners, we're launching a major new package of sanctions on individuals, on companies, on vessels, the Shadow Fleet, to exert maximum pressure on Russia. We're also sending over $2 billion in funding for drones, ammunition, armored vehicles to help Ukrainians defend their territory, as well as a $2.3 billion loan to help rebuild the infrastructure in that country.
European leaders, including the French president and German chancellor, stressed the need for G7 countries to intensify pressure on Moscow to achieve a ceasefire in Ukraine. Emmanuel Macron met personally with President Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of the summit, expressing solidarity with Ukrainians following Russia's massive strikes on peaceful Ukrainian cities.
Last night was absolutely horrific for Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. Kyiv came under direct attack, with dozens of civilians killed, demonstrating the utter cynicism of Putin, who exploits the international context to intensify attacks, once again targeting civilians. We will continue to support Ukraine militarily. There is consensus on this not only in the European Union, but also within the G7. We will keep using all available options, including imposing sanctions on Russia. The EU already has a comprehensive package of measures which we discussed today. We also explored various options for further sanctions with the American side. I returned to Germany with cautious optimism that decisions on additional sanctions against Russia will be made in America in the coming days. We all agreed we must do everything possible to end this war as soon as possible.
In addition to meeting his French counterpart, President Volodymyr Zelensky held several behind-the-scenes talks at the summit, including with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. They discussed cooperation in drone production, weapons needed by Ukraine's armed forces, and the threat posed by Russia's ties with Iran and North Korea. Earlier this month, Tokyo and Kyiv signed an agreement to allocate $3.3 billion from the interest on frozen Russian assets. Japan's total aid to Ukraine has now exceeded $12 billion.
We need support from our allies. It's important for our soldiers to be strong at the battlefield, to stay strong out until Russia will be ready for the peace negotiations. We are ready for the peace negotiations, unconditional ceasefire. I think it's very important, but for this we need pressure. And of course I want to speak with Prime Minister today about sanctions, additional sanctions, and thanks for the real unwavering support from your side, from all the Canadians to our people.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
The planned meeting between Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump did not take place. The U.S. president left the summit early, citing the escalation of the Israel-Iran conflict. Later, the White House leader convened a national security meeting and wrote on his blog that Iran must not possess nuclear weapons, calling for Tehran's complete evacuation.
I've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. The cities have been blown to pieces. They've lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal.
Meanwhile, all G7 participants supported Donald Trump's peace efforts regarding Ukraine. This was discussed at the same table with President Volodymyr Zelensky and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte.
G7 leaders expressed support for President Trump's efforts to achieve a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. They acknowledged that Ukraine has committed to an unconditional ceasefire and agreed that Russia must do the same. G7 leaders are resolute in exploring all options to maximize pressure on Russia, including financial sanctions. Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine, on Telegram.
In addition to Russia's war against Ukraine and the Middle East conflict, G7 leaders and invited guests discussed energy security, artificial intelligence development, critical mineral supply chains, and global economic stability. Next year's G7 Leaders Summit will be hosted by the French city of Évian-les-Bains from June 14th to 16th, as announced by President Emmanuel Macron on his X page. Reported by Larissa Petruk, UATV News.
Ukraine's defense forces continue to hold back the enemy on the Vovchansk front. Amongst the defenders serve the soldiers of the 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade. For over a year, they have been defending the north parts of Kharkiv Oblast. Our report tells the story of their resilience, courage, and determination.
These are the tanks of the 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade, named after Kostya Gordienko. They crushed the enemy in Bakhmut and Lysychansk, helped liberate Kherson region, and defended Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region. For over a year now, their armor has been holding the line and effectively destroying enemy forces along the Vovchansk front. Despite relentless shelling from various types of Russian weaponry, which have nearly leveled Vovchansk, the enemy has not managed to capture the city. Their renewed offensive on Kharkiv region in May 2024 collapsed. All assaults were repelled by Ukrainian defenders. Commander of the 57th Brigade says, currently the enemy is attempting to attack in small groups on the Vovchansk axis, but their efforts are unsuccessful.
As of today, thank God, we're holding the defense firmly. Collective firepower is working excellently. Intelligence is top-notch. And all the honor and respect goes to our infantry. It's an incredible thing when infantry is operating with assault rifles. The enemy has no chance. That's probably why we've held the city of Vovchansk for over a year. As far as I know, it's the largest city in Ukraine where urban combat has continued for so long.
37-year-old Dennis has been the commander of a rifle battalion for just 2 days. He's from Apostolov, in Dnipropetrovsk region, and that's his call sign, Apostol. Before 2015, Denis was a beekeeper. Then he joined a volunteer battalion and rose through the ranks in the 57th Brigade, from infantryman to commander. In 2022, while defending Sievierodonetsk, he was severely wounded. He underwent 27 surgeries and a year of rehab, but still returned to the front.
I've seen the ATO, JFO, and the full-scale war, across many sectors of the front. Wherever the 57th Brigade shows strength, we set the example. The more of them we put in the ground, the better our harvests on that land. Everyone here knows, behind each of us are our homes. Many have their homes under occupation. Everyone has families, and everyone has their own motivation.
Senior lieutenant with the call sign Kvilia commands the reconnaissance company. During his service in the brigade, he and his team have carried out numerous missions behind enemy lines.
Since becoming an officer here, I went from platoon commander to company commander. In all that time, I've had only 2 MIA. Every operation, I led the group myself. I always went in first and came out last. Always.
Over 11 years, 7 soldiers of the brigade have received the title Hero of Ukraine. Oleg Fedorov is one of them. He's been fighting since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. He took part in liberating Kherson region and defended Bakhmut and Chasiv Yar. As a BMP, infantry fighting vehicle commander, he repeatedly rescued fellow soldiers under fire.
I was the commander of a YPR 765 vehicle. Crews would change, drivers, gunners. Some couldn't handle it, some were wounded. But I stayed. I kept driving. We evacuated the wounded, delivered infantry, and took part in assaults. Just for Chasiv Yar, I was in 6 assaults because we had 2 assaults every month.
According to Brigade Commander Yevhen Solodayev, over 11 years, the soldiers, NCOs, and officers have risked their lives daily, demonstrating bravery and resilience.
Our motto on the patch is "Born in Battle." That says it all. Endurance, grit. If you look at the brigade's combat history, not once have we been assigned to a quiet sector or where there was no combat. Wherever we were deployed, the enemy's plans would collapse. We took the initiative, stopped their advances, and inflicted maximum losses across every front. To your positions. Full volley, target acquired, fire.
Reported by Natalia Bilokudria, Andriy Domove from Kharkiv region, UATV News.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Drop them in the comments. Stay in focus with UATV and stay safe.